We're at Todaiji Temple in Nara, Japan, one of the oldest Buddhist temples in Japan, and one of the most important, partly because it's got the Daibutsu. You're looking at the Daibutsuden right now, which is the Hall of the Great Buddha. And this Buddha stands something like 4 stories tall, right? I don't know how many meters tall it is, but so let's go back to the year 738. So, about 1300 years ago, Emperor Shomu was living in a time of conflict, and there wasn't peace in Japan. There was pestilence and crops were failing, and there were civil wars and natural disasters like earthquakes. And so he had Todaiji built so that there was a place to pray for peace and the goodness of his people and that kind of thing. So, it's kind of forward thinking. I don't know if he was benevolent or not. Maybe the Buddhist monks had a lot of power. But anyway, over the years, they built and rebuilt this Buddhist statue that we're going to look at in a minute that is the biggest on the planet. It's bronze. This building is one of the biggest wooden buildings on Earth. And there you go. There's the Daibutsu right there. And if you look really closely, actually the head and the body, the colors are a little bit different because, over time the head was missing, but the body was there. The temple itself has, again, suffered, through natural disaster and fire and been built and, destroyed and rebuilt and that kind of thing. At one point in time, actually, during the Meiji Restoration in 1868, Buddhism wasn't outlawed by the government, but it also wasn't protected by the government. And there was a lot of Buddhist texts and icons and things like that were destroyed by Shinto nationalists. But Buddhism had such strong roots in Japan that the government, the new Meiji government, trying to modernize Japan, could not get rid of Buddhism entirely, because people in Japan for centuries have been doing Buddhist rites when they have funerals. So Buddhism not only survived, but eventually Buddhism continued to thrive in Japan, even with the threat of state Shinto nationalism. Really. We're just going to kind of walk around here and so you can kind of scroll through and have a look at what it is on the inside. Apparently one of these pillars has a hole in it, and if you can walk through the hole, that means you're destined to be enlightened, or you'll be enlightened. And apparently that hole is the exact same size as the eye of the Buddha the Daibutsu, the great Buddha that you see right there. There's also I think here it's a tunnel that you can go through. It's completely dark. We're not going to be able to do that right now just because of the number of people, and I did it 25 years ago and want to do it again, but just can't. So we're going to walk around so you can kind of look at the architecture, look at the sculptures. Many Japanese treasures actually are housed nearby in a place called Shosoin, which is the House of Treasures, which basically means these are historical artifacts and icons that are important to Japan. But this is really cool. Not happy with this video right now, but at the same time, I'm just loving being here. I mean, check that out. That's amazing. To think that 1,300 years ago, people started this. Actually, and apparently, from start to finish, there were something like 2.3 million people that had something to do with the construction of Todaiji and the Daibutsu, the great Buddha. In fact, directly, something like 300,000 people had something to do with building the Buddha itself, which is quite cool. You got to come to Nara. This is a really cool city, and you got to see Todaiji. Look at that building. That architecture is incredible.